Hey, what do you think about this artwork? It's rather large and made of 2 sheets of cloth that are on top of each other. Both of the cloth pieces have images on them. The top one is a little bit see-through, and so you can kind of see images peeking through from behind it. But it's hard to see anything clearly because the 2 layers of images sort of interfere with each other. The fact that they interfere with each other sort of makes it hard to pay attention to any one image. The images cover over the surface of the cloths, but there's no meaning behind them. This sort of reminds me of the occasional times when I'm talking on the phone and scrolling through Instagram at the same time. I cannot really concentrate on either activity all the way. This work was made by an artist named Robert Rauschenberg. Rauschenberg was born in 1925 and died in 2008, and early on he became famous for a series of works called his Combine paintings, which was a series he made from 1954 to 64. They were like big collages on a canvas. He collected stuff and pasted stuff together and made odd associations. It really threw people for a loop. The artwork owned by the Ludwig Museum is called Shim, from the Hoarfrost series, that he made a little bit later in 1974. It is made with transfer image, collage, unstretched silk, muslin, and paper. The images are pushed together in a crashing sort of way that makes me feel like I cannot really distinguish any certain image. I can make out cartoons from the newspaper. I can make out advertisements about a sale. I can make out a page from an art history book and a picture of mushrooms. All of these seem to be competing with each other for my attention in about the same way. One does not seem more important than the other. I think Rauschenberg's work is very interesting because it comes out of a time when TV was very important in American life, and mass media of this type was really exploding. Rauschenberg also really liked to have the TV on in the background as noise while he was working, and he really didn't like to have a preconceived idea before he went into the studio. He just started combining images in a very intuitive sort of way. He also had dyslexia, which really influenced the way that he saw the world, and he was able to use this in his art as well. Rauschenberg took many of the images for this artwork from the newspaper. If I think about a newspaper, then I usually think about reading it from left to right, line by line. In a newspaper, there are many stories next to each other, all presented with the same importance, but about very different things. A famine and an earthquake and a new medical discovery could all be reported on in very much the same way without giving any of it hierarchy. I feel like this is similar in Rauschenberg's work. He turns the text sideways so that it seems to move more vertically, and things overlap and crash into each other, giving a sort of all-over feeling, not having any one thing stick out more than anything else. The cloth feels like it could be my mind, unable to hold all this imagery that is crashing around in it and streaming through. I think this is a really interesting commentary on our attention. Our attention these days is very fragmented, and since 1974 it has become even more so. We just pay attention to little snippets of things for a very short amount of time, and things that are very big and serious have equal attention to things that are like ads or things that are more superficial. I think it's a really interesting question. What do you do with your attention? Where does your attention go during the day? What are we paying attention to? How long are we paying attention? Do we try to multitask, or are we able to pay attention to just one thing at a time? I think Robert Rauschenberg touches on all of these questions in his work.